Hey everyone, welcome to She Center, highlighting sports, hospitality, and entertainment where she's at the center of the conversation. I'm Nasia Walsh, actor, host, hockey mom, and ex-collegiate volleyball player.
And I'm Allison Hayslip, actor, host, and total failure playing sports, but I am a huge fan of supporting sports, especially those of our kick-ass women. And together, we are your co-hosts for She Center, and today's episode is a big one.
Oh, yes, it is. Okay, so we are breaking down how the She Weekend actually started from one viral tweet to a full-blown movement.
Yeah, Flavor Flav's She Weekend is going to celebrate female athletes who represent sports at the highest level. There will be 100 plus athletes, including the U.S. women's hockey team and U.S. bobsled and skeleton, and it's offering them a series of public and private events, dinners, shows, programming, and community moments that honor them and let them have some fun.
Oh my God, it's going to be so much fun for them and the community. But beyond that, She Weekend is more than just a single moment, okay? It's a movement for lasting social change in women's sports, hospitality, and entertainment.
Hence, she.
Makes sense. I see the connection there.
Yeah.
So listen, I gotta say, as someone who has spent over a decade in cold rinks, on hot fields, many gymnasiums, watching girls of all ages compete hard for recognition, this episode is kind of personal to me.
Ooh, tell me why. Give me the tea.
Okay, so I am a mom of four, and my three older children are boys, so I have supported them through all the sports that they have played. But now I'm raising a daughter. She is 11. She is into volleyball like her mom, and
Nice.
it's just so exciting to have this platform for so many female athletes to really get to shine in the way they deserve to be.
Right, because she's had these brothers to look up to, but now she has some actual women
Exactly.
to look up to as well. Nice. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
why do you feel like you got involved?
Well, because of another totally kick-ass woman, Rhiannon Ellis, who is Flavor Flav's manager. She's also been a very dear friend of mine for years and years and years. And I've watched her over these last few years basically take every wonderful, wild, crazy idea Flav has had and makes it happen. She like quite literally makes dreams come true. And I feel like She Weekend is the culmination of everything she's been working on with Flav. And I'm just so proud of her. And I'm so honored and excited to be a part of this weekend because I just know so much that's been happening behind the curtain and it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be so amazing. Okay, so up next, we will be joined with Ellen Hislop, the co-founder of The Gist. And after that, we'll get some words from the man himself, Mr. Flavor Flav.
Yeah, boy. Well, we've got some great partnerships for She Weekend, and right now we would like to thank The Gist for being the first to break the story about She Weekend and jumping in just so enthusiastically as our media partner. As a female-founded sports media company dedicated to leveling the playing field, The Gist has been the perfect partner to give these female athletes the recognition they deserve. And with us right now from The Gist is Ellen Hislop. Hi.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Hello, Ellen. Thank you so much for being here with us. Okay, so I need to know the tea. From the moment you saw Flav's viral tweet, what did you and your team at The Gist think?
Oh my gosh, so we've been following Flav for such a long time. We've been longtime fans of his, but also I feel like in the last handful of years in particular, he's become such a advocate for women's sports and for female athletes. So he's someone who we've been engaging with on social media for a number of years now. And so our social team, of course, saw his tweet and immediately reached out to him, reached out to his team, and was basically like, we couldn't agree with you more. Let's cook up something really cool together. We would love to be part of it. And I feel like for us at The Gist, really understanding our audience, really understanding how to level the playing field, what female athletes deserve, what women's teams deserve, Flav really embodies that too. And so we are just so excited that we could be a part of this weekend now.
Was there a little bit of a why didn't we think of this first? Or was it more of a, oh, thank goodness someone can actually get the ball rolling on this?
You know what? I think it was a little bit more of the latter. And I think with something like this too, we've been preaching this to the choir since 2017 when we founded The Gist. We really founded The Gist because we felt like the sports industry and the extended media industry through sports really was, unfortunately, that toxic kind of locker room culture. It really was created for a certain type of fan. And for us at The Gist, we're all about leveling the playing field. So covering men's and women's sports equally. All of our content is created by women. All of our content's created for these underserved sports fans. And so we have been pounding the pavement and shouting things like this from the rooftop since we were founded in 2017. And so for us as a startup, trying to really prove a point for so long, it feels like in these last few years when you have someone like Flav come on and be the advocate that he is, people pay attention, people stand up and they go, wait, he's onto something. And so I really feel like it's been awesome for our entire kind of startup ecosystem in women's sports that we have someone like Flav to, I think, put us all up on this platform that we are trying to build and that we're trying to create.
I love that you use the word advocate. Sorry, Nasia, but like this just popped in my head when you said the word advocate, because it is truly sort of what Flav has been since he even came into the public eye. I mean, we all refer to him sort of as the ultimate and original hype man, but what is an advocate but a hype man?
Exactly that. And I think especially in women's sports as well, I do feel like there's been so much of the burden on the female athlete's shoulders, on startups like ours that are founded by women, on all of these athletes for so long to be the people kind of holding the torch and running with it. And so I think that having someone of a celebrity like Flav, where people are listening and paying attention again to someone like him, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I'm so excited the way Flav has really spotlighted these women and given them a platform, because in so many of these professional sports, they are not supported in such a public way. And the fact that he put his name and his money and all of this on the line in order to give these women the proper celebration that they deserve, I think we need more men especially, coming in and trying to uplift these women and give them, the spotlight they deserve.
For sure. And I think that it's been really cool to see how Flav has done it across Summer Olympics, Winter Olympics. Of course, it initially started with the water polo team sponsoring that entire team. Now we're responding to women's hockey in particular, and now all athletes in this Olympic movement. And it's just so cool to see how it started in one place and how it really started to take off in Paris. And then we saw it with this year with the Olympics in Milano Cortina, and now what we're able to bring to Vegas. I think that is just such a really cool character arc. And I also think too, the Winter Olympics is sometimes the Summer Olympics little sister. I feel like, track and field and things like that get so much hype in the Summer Olympics. When you look at even hockey, it doesn't get the same attention as it deserves. The PWHL truly has just launched and is going into its upcoming third season. And so the fact that a lot of this was galvanized from the women's hockey team as well, I think is going to do a lot of things for the sport and do a lot of things for Winter Olympians too.
Since The Gist has been a part of this movement for almost a decade now, which is incredible, what do you find has been the greatest hurdle to get over? I mean, I can think of something like we all sort of understand the idea that men just get paid more in sports than women do. But in general, what do you find is the biggest hurdle to get through?
There's so many hurdles. I do think it depends. I think it depends on what lens you're kind of taking it. I think that there's the revenue hurdle. I think that there's the actually having access to be able to watch these athletes hurdle. I think that there's the education on the sport hurdle. I think that there's the history kind of hurdle that women's sports just doesn't necessarily have in comparison to men's sports. I think at the foundation of it all when it comes to women's sports, and I think the broader women's sports ecosystem, or someone like us who's female founded, focusing on the female fan, but both men's and women's sports, is that really women aren't invested in as much as men. And you see it in corporate as well. Men get promoted based off of potential. Women get promoted based off of their resume. It's very similar in sports. All of these men's leagues, we invested in them early. They could be failing. We continue to pour money into them, and we're like, don't worry, they'll figure it out. MLS is an amazing example. Versus on the women's side, it's like, immediately it has to be, okay, show us first, show us your cards, show us that you can do it. And then maybe we'll put in a little bit more money. And then maybe we'll do a little bit more. And then once the resume is big enough, then people are pouring gas fully on the fire, but it takes probably 10 to 20 years later. I think the WNBA is an amazing case for this, or maybe not an amazing case for this, but I think a good example of really what I'm talking about. And I think now, it's been decades of work that so many of these athletes have been doing, so many people in the industry have been doing, all the way back to before Billie Jean King even. And so it's been really cool for us, I think, being a part of this movement, really, again, I think spearheading it and being one of the first to it from a media perspective in 2017. And I think really starting to see things change meaningfully after the democratization of social media, which I think truly happened during COVID in 2020.
So shifting a little bit to what is actually going down this coming July 16th and the whole weekend, please tell us what you're most excited about the She Weekend, and what are you looking forward to?
I think what I'm most excited about is just the vibes are all celebratory, and it's very positive, and it's going to be a celebration of these athletes. I think Hillary Knight kind of talked about it in some of her press conferences after the Olympics, how she almost felt like the men's win and what happened in the locker room took away from their overtime win and that gold medal, and that they couldn't necessarily get away from it. And I feel like this weekend gives them a space, all of these athletes, a space to be celebrated in the way that they should be, without being compared or without having a different light shined upon them or a different story taking the spotlight. And I think that's going to be amazing. There's so much incredible content that's going to be coming out of this. We're finalizing a few details. I know that there's some other things going on too. I can't wait to be able to consume all of that content. I think seeing all of the athletes together too, and understanding what friendships are going to form there. And then I think as well with Flav, he's an advocate, but he's also just such a connector, and he is just such that hype man, that I do think there's going to be some really cool collaborations coming out of this that we probably don't even expect at this point that will happen.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm
kind of the best.
excited.
I know, I'm so excited. I think that's kind of the best part of the weekend. It's not only a celebration, but it's also moving into support later on down the road. So these connections that these women are going to be making at this event, hopefully will take them into the future, and they can garner some sort of attention or just support and resources that they might not have had prior to this weekend. So I'm excited for all of it, especially the music, especially because I'm a I hope you're gonna be dancing, Ellen.
100%. Of course. No, it is. It's so important, and it's so good that you underscore that. And I think it's really cool to see who's been involved and who's kind of raising their hand to be a part of all of it.
What would you want the biggest takeaway from the weekend to be?
That's such a good question. I think one of the biggest things about She Weekend that really spoke to us, or I feel like what Flav really is about, is just treating the sport and treating the athletes like the entertainers that they are. And I think that oftentimes in women's sports, sometimes people are like, oh, well, you're just watching the women's sports because you are a woman, or you're just watching the game because sometimes it's the right thing to do. And like, that is not why people are watching these athletes. Like, people are tuning into these athletes because they are incredible on the ice, on the pitch, on the court, whatever surface they're playing on. And then also, at least for our audience of gisters, people are following these athletes because they're multi-hyphenate. Yes, they're amazing on the pitch, but they're also really fashion forward. They are also foodies. They're also influencers in their lives. And so I think finding a way to center these women as like they're entertainers in the same way some of the top male athletes are, and they're actually better at it because they're better on it on pitch as well as off pitch, is really cool. I think that's what I hope people are taking away from it. And then hopefully we have more things like this in the future.
Yes. Well, Ellen, thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you
much for being here with us.
We're so excited for the weekend. We can't wait to see all of the athletes, all the content that comes out of it. We're so honored to be part of it as well. And thank you both so much for having me on.
So
thank
please
you.
tell everybody, if they don't already know, where they can find all the information that they want to find about the gist, and how can they support you, all of that.
Please go check us out at The Gist Sports on the majority of our social handles, thegistsports.com, on our website. Subscribe to our free newsletter where you can stay up to date on everything men's and women's sports. Follow us on social. And then I also host a podcast called The Gist of It with one of my best friends, where we chat about everything that is happening in the sports world twice a week. Yes.
So 2 weeks ago, I got to spend a few days with Flav and his manager, Rhiannon Ellis, at Cannes Lions, one of the world's biggest media, advertising, and creativity festivals. It was in the gorgeous south of France, and I was very, very lucky. I got to watch these two powerhouses chat She Weekend on multiple panels and podcasts, and thankfully, we've now got some clips for you to check out.
Well, yes, I'm considered the original hype man because I was the first hype man in rap music, period. In music, period. You know what I'm saying? In the whole nine. But I also have 4 daughters.
Girl dad.
I'm a girl dad. You know what I'm saying? And I know how my daughters feel when they do something good and they want to be recognized for it and they don't get their recognition. I know how that feels. You know what I'm saying?
For She Weekend. We recognize that we have a social responsibility, but I think we also realize the social impact and change that we can make, and we're asking that for any brands that want to partner with us. Please send your senior most female executive to come and interface with the athletes. What change are you going to make beyond the weekend? How are you changing your culture within your company? And, as Nielsen Media reports, more than 50% of consumers expect the brands that they support to support the causes they support.
FLAVR, So if you put FLAVA, you're going to get the wrong information, I promise. I want to just make sure that everybody have a good time. I'm going to do my best to make sure that everybody and their families have a good time. I'm going to try to meet all the families. I'm going to try to take a picture and put all of the families and everything, because that helps to make it unforgettable too. You know what I'm saying? But that puts the biggest smile on my face. You know what I'm saying? Because when I see that I can put a smile on somebody's face, that puts a big smile on my face.
But it isn't just for the athletes, stuff for the public too.
Yes, so starting July 16th, it's the big kickoff. We have the She Celebration Parade. And here's the best part. It's free, it's open to the public, and there are no tickets needed, okay? So if you're on the strip that night, you can be a part of it too.
Yeah, Natia, let's walk everyone through what the night actually looks like.
All right, so at 7 p.m., Blue to Tiger and Mailbox will be DJing for the crowd while the parade kicks off at 3760 South Las Vegas Boulevard. So we're going to go down Bruno Mars Way. Flav will be serving as the Grand Marshal, and he and the athletes will be traveling that route. So this is your shot to see them up close. Take all those pictures.
All the pictures. Zoom in. Then at 8 p.m., the celebration continues in Toshiba Plaza with the presentation of the keys to the Las Vegas Strip to the athletes. We've got the U.S. women's hockey team, bobsled team, and skeleton teams all there. There's going to be over 100 athletes being honored right there on the Strip.
We're going to be surrounded by greatness, okay? And then at 9 p.m., Public Enemy is performing along with Grace Bowers and some surprise guests we can't confirm yet, okay? We just can't do it.
But here, we'll just simplify it. Here's the checklist. It kicks off Thursday, July 16th from 7 to 10 p.m. You've got a parade, you've got a concert, we've got all sorts of celebration. It's at Toshiba Plaza. Again, the cost is free. You do not need tickets.
Bring your energy. Wear your favorite athlete's jersey. I'm going to get mine. Make sure that you show your support and be a part of the celebration.
Yeah, you can also support by following everything on socials. It's at Flavor Flav's She on IG. Make sure you get that possessive S in there. She.weekend on TikTok. That too. And at She Weekend on YouTube and Twitch, which is where we will be streaming live from the parade.
Live, the two of us at the parade. Okay, so that's the story of She, a tweet that became a movement, and now it's a whole weekend. So visibility isn't just a bonus for women's sports anymore. It's the whole point. Whole point. So what do you want people walking away with, Allison, from this whole weekend?
I want people to understand the joy that comes out of women's sports, that comes out of supporting women's athletes. I also hope that, people really start seeing the value in women's sports in general. They just bring so much more to the table than the sports we've had around for years and years and years and we're used to. This movement, I think, is very exciting to me, and I'm really, really curious to see what happens on the other side of this weekend.
Me too, Allison. I couldn't have said it better. So here's what we need from all of you, okay? Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Follow She Weekend across all the socials. And most importantly, join the conversation. Comment, share, tag an athlete who deserves her flowers or who you want to see at this weekend, okay? Because they need to know too.
Yeah. And okay, remember, July 16th, right here in Las Vegas. No tickets needed. Just bring your signs, bring your energy, show up. And if you can't be there in person, we got you. We're going to be live on Twitch and YouTube all weekend long, so you won't miss a second of it. I'm Allison Hayslip.
And I'm Nasia Walsh. And this has been She Center, where she's at the center of the conversation.
See you at She Weekend.